As we venture into the second part of our podcast episode, Hot Coals, Cool Heads, Leadership Lessons from the Grill, the flames of insight continue to burn brightly. Sean Casey, our esteemed guest, brings a wealth of experience as a management and program analyst on the National Training Team Compliance, showcasing his expertise beyond the realm of the grill. Having served in both the Marines and the Air Force, Sean's journey exemplifies the resilience and discipline instilled by military service, qualities that undoubtedly shaped his approach to leadership. His 24 years of dedicated service in education service further solidify his reputation as a seasoned professional committed to excellence. But amidst his professional achievements lies a hidden talent, Sean's mastery of the grill. With the precision of an artist, he transforms ordinary barbecues into culinary delights, elevating the act of grilling to an art form. Throughout this episode, we've been unraveling the unexpected parallels between grilling and leadership, drawing from Sean's diverse background and his finesse on the grill. From the importance of preparation and attention to detail to the delicate balance of heat and timing, Sean's insights offer a fresh perspective on what it means to lead with excellence. So, as we stoke the fires of conversation and continue our exploration of leadership lessons seasoned to perfection, join us in learning from Sean Casey, where the hot coals meet cool heads. It's time to savor the aroma of wisdom and grill up some invaluable insights together. As we wrap up this episode of the Compliance Connection, a heartfelt thank you goes out to Sean for sharing his insights and experiences with us. Sean, your remarkable 24 years of service to education service is truly commendable, and we express our sincere gratitude for your dedicated contributions to both the Marines and Air Force. Rumor has it you plan to retire, so it's important to acknowledge the lasting impact you've made within the VA and the education service. Your commitment and service will undoubtedly leave a legacy, and your contributions will not be forgotten. We wish you the very best in your future endeavors and hope your retirement brings you the same fulfillment and success that you brought to your years of service. Thank you, Sean, for being a very special part of this episode.
Back, Sean. Thank you for agreeing to join us again on the Compliance Connection and finish.
Thanks for inviting me back.
Finish up your interview on Hot Coals, Cool Heads, Leadership Lessons from the Grill. So we're just going to jump right in and talk about our next topic, the discipline of fire. Grillers know that they cannot set it and forget it. Walking away from a fire to chat with friends or cool off inside, they know if they do that, they may commit one of the most cardinal sins of grilling, overcooked meat. A set it and forget it approach would be a disastrous attitude for serving our veterans. So let's discuss the importance of staying focused and monitoring the people, projects, and processes in education service so we can best serve our veterans.
Well, I mean, I think I remember this question from the last time we had our get together here. Again, it depends on what you're doing on the grill, and it comes back again what you're doing with the people and training and stuff. And so nobody wants to be micromanaged, and that's what grilling is. Grilling is micromanaging your meat, making sure it's cooked because it's a fast grill, a fast cook. And most people like to be barbecued. but they're in the happy medium of more barbecue because barbecue is You still watching your meat, but you're not hovering over it. You're waiting for the time to come right to start serving it and preparing it for serving and stuff. And then you got the other group who are, you don't ever have to watch or look at. That's the smoke group. You got smoking, you do leave it and forget it. And for, timeliness, you time it out for a few hours. You may go check on it, check the temperature, but you don't do anything else to it. So it's a mixed bag. And and many times we forget about who is what, or we expect everybody to react the same way. And not everybody's like that. So it's like in everything that has to do with meals or with people or anything, it's different for every recipe you have or every person you have. So I see it's based on recipes. It's based on what you're doing and what you're trying to convey in your, not only in your cooking, but in your training and stuff. And I know, and it's also being creative, because part of being good at grilling is being creative. You're trying things. Don't be afraid to try things. Try something different. Like when I mentioned last time we were on, we did cobbler on a fire. I've done chili on. I want a little smoky flavor in my chili, so I'll put my chili out there, the whole pot of chili, and get a little smoky flavor in it and stuff. Or I've done mac and cheese on the grill. I mean, you ought to try that. You talk about something good, a little mac and cheese with a little smoke in it.
You're making me hungry, Sean.
Well, that's the whole purpose. But, I mean, I've done also vegan stuff for people who doesn't, if you look at my background picture, you'll see squash and all that stuff I put on there, and I season it and everything like that. The same thing goes with training and people. Everybody has a different need, but everybody likes generally the same thing. Something's being offered to them that they can ingest and enjoy. And and it may sound crazy, but it's not, because people like the attention. And I don't care how shy you are or anything like that. You still like the attention, knowing that somebody cares, that somebody's there for you, and somebody's trying to help you through whatever you're trying to accomplish in your career. So that's where it comes back to like grilling.
Yeah, those are great points. I appreciate that. And now I'm hungry, so after this, I'm going to find me some barbecue. Let's talk about grilling with intuition.
Okay.
A master griller may not rely as heavily on their thermometers and recipes as they did when they first learned how to barbecue.
Right.
Over time, they learn to be hyper present, trusting their senses and intuition to know what move to make next.
Right.
One of the most powerful tools a master griller has is their intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about a time in education that intuition made all the difference?
Wow. Well, I guess I go back to when I was on the outreach team, because we were always traveling to conventions and stuff and representing VA in those times. And I remember one convention, it was the VFW convention, it was in Kansas City, 2008. I think it was 2008. And that was when we had the election going on. And naturally, with the big conventions, the candidates are going to come. And for the first one day, it was the GOP that was doing their presentation. That was John McCain, and Fred Thompson when he was still in the race. And they came and did their presentation speech and all that stuff. And then the next day was Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Well, the first one, they had people from VA in the meeting line. They shook hands and stuff like this, and kind of, it was a conveyance of people shaking hands to the candidates and stuff and representing. Well, the day of the Democrats, they had a big session going on. VA, the higher ups of VA couldn't get away from. And so they came to my booth, and I had a VA shirt on and stuff. They said, "We need you to go over to the meet and greet line." For what? And they said, "You're going to meet the Hillary Clinton. You're going to meet Barack Obama." Well, Hillary Clinton was in the morning, right around before lunch, and Barack Obama was after lunch. And so intuition kicked in and said, "Okay, first off, you can't speak for VA. You can't make anything concise about VA to them. They're going to ask questions." And matter of fact, here comes Hillary Clinton walking up. She saw my VA shirt, and she goes, "I want to talk to you." And I'm like going, "Oh my God, here we go." And so her people pulled me off to the side. So she came over and she asked me some questions. And I had to tell right off that, Miss Clinton, I cannot speak for VA. I can speak only for me, Sean Casey, what I see. But it's not the viewpoint of VA as a whole. So if you want to ask me what I see, that's one thing. If you ask what needs to be done with VA, well, that's where the director and secretary of VA, that's who you talk to. And so she goes, I want to see what you want to see done. And I gave her my opinion. Well, that afternoon, here I am again in the line again. Here comes President Obama, well, Senator Obama at the time. He comes walking up and he saw the VA shirt and he said, I want to talk to you. And I go, oh my God, what is going on here? So they pulled me off the side again. And the same thing. That must have been the mandate of the party at that time during their whole spiel and stuff. And so they asked me almost identical question. I told them the exact same answer and stuff. But one thing I learned was being comfortable in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And Hillary was a little bit more pressing because he's a lawyer, you know. Well, so was Barack Obama. He's a lawyer too, but he was a little more laid back. He had that calmness about it, that calm confidence about him and stuff. I was really impressed with him because he listened to everything I said, and he said, I don't have no experience with the military and all that stuff. He says, you know, Hillary, my opponent does, because her father's World War II and all this stuff, and he's a disabled vet, I think, or all this stuff. So, but it was really an interesting conversation. And that takes me to like another, when we going back to post 9/11, I seemed to be the featured presenter of what we were doing. It was me and Keith Wilson. So I was traveling, you know, doing presentations of various organizations and stuff about the post 9/11 upcoming benefits and stuff. And he was going too. But he always got the nice warm places. And I got the, you know, Wisconsin in wintertime location, which was the first time I met Student Veterans of America.
Oh,
And I was the first one in Education Service to meet with them. They were a grassroots group, but there was probably about 15 of them there, most of them from the University of Michigan and most of the Big Ten schools and stuff. But it was really a grassroots organization. And I had to have my intuition in place there because we didn't know everything what was going on with post 9/11. We were still developing, and they were hammering me with questions. And I finally said, hey, okay, time out. Let's take a time out here, folks. I am telling you what I know at this time because it's still in development. I can't forecast anything because it'll come back and bite us in the butt if I do. So I'm going to tell you what we know now. And here's how you're going to find your information, and that's how you keep apprised of what the new developments are and stuff. And so that's where intuition comes in. It's being calm in the situation. I had another one. I was I was doing something for a faith-based thing that they had, the big thing that was going on around that time. And I had to go down to Jacksonville, Florida to do a presentation. And I did that and everything. And it came up that I was supposed to speak in front of, I think, about 200 or 300 people. When I walked on stage, there was like 3,000. And and there's all different branches of service, and there's all different branches of religion, church groups, and all that stuff. And it's all mixed in there. And so I went back to the old Toastmasters process of how I deal with a huge audience, see them all naked or sitting in their underwear, part one. And I opened off with some humor and stuff to get them to lighten up and calm down and everything like this. You know, and I start off with the, you know, like, who's here is the Army, and got the hoorahs. I said, well, I'll talk slow to you guys, you know, in the Army, you know. And then I said, asked about the Navy, and they said, well, yeah, over here. I said, well, I was part of the men's group, the men's department of the Navy, the Marines. You know, then I came with the Air Force, you know, the smartest group of the branches, because we send the officers to fight the war. So, you know, and that's how you started off. And that comes with intuition. That comes with knowing who your audience is and figuring out what their goals are and what they're seeking to get from you. And that comes from doing experience and having that innate ability to find a common ground and stuff and make people feel comfortable.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Thank you for that. The intuition is important, and I don't think we think about it that often, but we're probably using it way more than we're thinking about in our day-to-day work. So thank you for pointing those things out, because I think sometimes we don't give ourselves as much credit as we need to
Right.
as far as using intuition. So that's great. So my last question for you is in the topic of spicing it up. A master griller is always experimenting with new flavors and spices, but never underestimates the contribution of simple salt and pepper.
Yep.
Sometimes it's the simple things that we do that make the difference. Can you tell us about a simple moment in education service that may have made all the difference for you as a veteran or as an employee?
Oh, wow. I guess I'd have to go back to COVID-19 when we all got 100% telework. I mean, that made life really simple for all of us. And it was one of the greatest things to happen, in my opinion, to VA and to people overall, because it took the stress out of life. You know, you say keep it simple and stuff. It reminds me of the mantra we had when I was in the military. I was a flight line. I worked in weapons on the aircraft and stuff. And we had a acronym called KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. I know that's going to go against the politically correct people and stuff. It's going to hurt some little feelings saying that, but it is. That's a good rule to go by. Keep it simple, stupid, and simple fix first. I think sometimes we go so overboard with IT, and we go so overboard with trying to reinvent the wheel and throwing what we just finished out the door and coming up with something brand new and stuff. And I think it's more about tick marks for contractors than it is about what we actually really need. And I think sometimes we need to get back to the place where let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple because that's what the people our customers, they're used to that. They're used to that KISS philosophy because that's what they've done all their careers. They don't need all the fireworks and all the pomp and circumstance. They need something that's simple that they go through and do. And I think another aspect that we're missing that simple is simply reaching out and shaking a hand. I think we've lost that. When I was in outreach, we used to get business cards. Everybody in the office had business cards. We got about 1,000 of them. And I'd be on the metro and I see somebody in uniform, an NCO, who I know has got troops underneath him, and I hand him my card. Hey, we got a new benefit coming out. If you want us to get together your people, give me a call. We'll set up an appointment. We'll schedule something with you guys. You know, we don't do that anymore. We sit in this ivory tower and we let IT be our handshake. And it shouldn't be that way. These are lives that we're dealing with here. These are people that's got futures they're concerned about. They're coming out of a situation, going into a different situation, but they like to know who's across the aisle from them and helping them out. Not just some screen on a TV, on a computer and stuff. I think we've lost that touch. And I really wish we would get back to increasing our outreach budget, creating more pamphlets. I was the one who translated the pamphlets into Spanish originally. I put the white paper forward for that and stuff. And we had a contractor translate it and our website. I wrote a white paper for VFW because they came to me and asked me what we can do to increase our enrollment. Well, you know, you're sequestering your people to the old school of how to do things. You don't recognize the biggest demographic in the military are two people, is Hispanic and women. And you're not recognizing that. You have the women's auxiliary still in the VFW, which is separating them. Well, they're on the front lines fighting with the men. So they shouldn't be separated in the bar. And same thing with, you know, are you putting VFW posts in inner cities? Or are they all sticking out in the country like we have in every small town? That's not recognizing who the demographic is. And so I think we've lost that human touch and recognizing what people's needs really are. And I think we forgot that. And I hope I've pushed it several times in our suggestions and morale group and stuff that we need to get back to that. And I don't mean just in training. I think it needs to be outreach because training, we know the people, but we don't know the people that were our customers. And that's where I think we need to start doing that human touch and give business cards to them, have them contacts, set up. We got how many military bases within a 100-mile radius of DC alone? Plus we got all the events we have, air shows and things like that we can have a representative out there talking to people. Hey, come to our booth. While you're waiting between the Blue Angels flying and stuff, come to our booth and let's talk about some of your benefits, what we're offering to you and stuff. Here, take some of this information home with you. We don't do that anymore. We use IT to be all and all, and that's not the way it should be. That's just my getting off my soapbox. But
well, you know, this is the time to be on your soapbox. You said earlier, I think in the last episode that you're going to retire soon. And so this is the perfect time to get on that soapbox.
Yeah, true. True.
And how long have you served the education service? I know you said 20 years.
Going on 24 years.
24 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we thank you for your service in education service and your service as a veteran. We really appreciate it. And I thank you personally for your service on the training team and for being willing to do this interview for us to add to our wonderful list of podcast episodes. So
I wrote a closing statement. I'd like to, if I can.
Sure, absolutely. Please do.
Okay, here's what I wrote. My retirement will have me improving on my grilling skills and offerings. My final thought always have been, have the best equipment and recipes for the best results, and don't be afraid to try different styles and ingredients. That goes for the grill and career at VA. A special thanks and love to the people I've had the honor of working with, and to our military veterans and their families that I've had the pleasure of serving with. It's been a fun run, and I thank you, Adrian, for always being there. You always give the best in what you do. Thank you for giving me the Swan Song podcast. I love my team. I love VA. And thank you guys for everything, for watching, and good luck in your careers.
As we wrap up this episode of the Compliance Connection, a heartfelt thank you goes out to Sean for sharing his insights and experiences with us. Sean, your remarkable 24 years of service to education service is truly commendable, and we express our sincere gratitude for your dedicated contributions to both the Marines and Air Force. Rumor has it you plan to retire, so it's important to acknowledge the lasting impact you've made within the VA and the education service. Your commitment and service will undoubtedly leave a legacy, and your contributions will not be forgotten. We wish you the very best in your future endeavors and hope your retirement brings you the same fulfillment and success that you brought to your years of service. Thank you, Sean, for being a very special part of this episode.